Okay, thank you. So let's look at the statement by Jack Welch. Can anybody share to you what is your understanding of this statement? Which is a preamble for today's discussion. Yeah, so the floor is open. Anybody, you raise your hand, then I'll allow you to make your statement. Otherwise, I'll be compelled to now mention names. Yep. Anybody? Yes. David.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. What I just, grasped by what Jack Welch said by this court, we want to change the competitive landscape by not just better than our competitors, but by taking quality to a whole new level. I feel what he was trying to portray by making this statement is the fact that, in a society where there seems to be a competition, we should not just focus on being, better than our core competitors in that society, but ensuring that we take quality of our time to ensure that what we're doing is more of a high standard than that which other competitors have brought to bear. And then in doing that, we should inculcate the habit of innovation, creativity, and other new ideas that our competitors are not privy to. I think that is what I lately understood by this court. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, David. You've hit the nails right on the head. Yes, Dr. Pifela, you can add your word to what David has laid the foundation on.
Okay, Prof. Greeting everyone. I think my colleague David has actually hit the point. I just want to stress that it is not only about being dominant above your competitor, but actually taking into consideration consumer satisfaction. And consumer satisfaction comes with the quality of the product or the services being rendered. And therefore, the quality of the services should also be taken into consideration when we are talking about domination over the competitor in the competitive landscape. So I just wanted to add that to what he already mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. So the main emphasis laid by David and Dr. Pifela is that if you look at your environment, sometimes you may set a low standard for yourself. And so for you to define quality, you need to just go beyond what is around you. Okay. The main aim of every organization is to improve quality and to give services that will enhance client satisfaction. And so for that matter, we need to go beyond our environment. Okay, so I'll allow Kevin to also add a thought, then we'll move on. Yes, Kevin, please come in.
Yeah, thank you, sir. In order to understand what Jack Welch is trying to say, I would like to use a common quotation that if you follow excellence, success will chase you hands down. If you look at it from this perspective, realize that if institutions or companies are to follow a system that ensures that they deliver the best quality of goods, that they follow excellence in terms of delivering their goods and services, their competitors or competition becomes, let me say, they subconsciously are better than their competitors without even having to try to be better than their competitors. Because in the business sector, when we talk about competition, people usually mostly focus on maybe sales. If you sell more than them and we generate more income than them, then we're beating our competitors. But I think what he's trying to say is that if you focus on the excellence of the quality of the product and services you deliver, meaning that there's better quality goods and services given out there, meaning that your consumers are more satisfied, given that your reputation is high because of the quality of goods, you're indirectly crushing your competitors without having to try to compete with them like on a one-on-one basis. So I think the focus here is to focus on the quality of the goods, meaning that you're following excellence and then the success automatically follows you. Thank you.
Thank you. So you feel the nails right on the head. that you should focus on more of quality than just your surrounding. And so doing, you will be able to achieve whatever objective you set for your organization. Now, can we look at the second statement? It reads, performance measures should aim at the long term and should be forward-thinking initiative designed to fundamentally change the way corporations do business. It is not a postmortem of what happened, but a step towards how we do better in the future. Can we take one or two comments on this statement? I think the key terms are short term and long term. And so can somebody help us with your thought on this one? And I hope it will not be the same set of people who made previous statements. Can we have new members also making a statement? Your understanding of this statement and aligning it to the public sector or public organizations or any organization. Yes. Otherwise, I'll be forced to mention some names. So please come and speak and so that I'll know. Otherwise, I'll call Hassan Ayuba.
Okay, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Thank you. From my own point of view, I think what the quote is trying to say is that the performance of every corporation or any organization should not be measured based on short-term success, but a long-term success. And also, if the performance is being measured, it should be to aiming to achieve greatness, and to also look at the loopholes and what will foster growth and development for the organization. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other? Do you have okay, can we invite Kojo and Nevi?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. What I can say on what my fellow said is, as any organization, we need to settle down a long-term measure that will link us to a breakthrough for the company or for the association. We don't need to be setting like short-term. Short-term also is very important, but for a successful company or association, we need to settle down a long-term goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So in summary, what we're trying to just put across is that for every organization, there's definitely supposed to be a short-term and long-term goals. And whatever activities you do, it should be realigned with this short-term and long-term. So in the short term, what do you hope to achieve? And in the long term, what do you hope to achieve? But we should always remember that for every organization, it's always better to always look to the future, no matter your previous performance. Every day gives the organization an opportunity to realign their thoughts. And so what this statement also tries to paint more on is for us to look into the future by analyzing to improve and not always looking at the past. That will affect the progress of every organization. So that's good. So at least that lays the foundation for today's discussion. Okay, so we want to look at how to improve on performance using the balance scorecard. So what will be my learning outcome? At the end of this session, at least we should be able to have an understanding of the balance scorecard and how it relates to organization, and understand the concept of benchmarking. Okay, so this will be the two key objectives that we'll be looking at. Now I want to give you just 2 minutes. To you, what is a successful business and how can this be measured? So in other words, to you, what would be some of the indicators that you look out for in order to conclude that this organization, this state agency is doing well? So let me give an example. So probably somebody will say, I look at profitability. So anytime a company is profitable, it means that that company is what? Successful. What other indicators do you look out for to be able to conclude that this organization is doing well? Okay, so I'll invite Dr. Pifela to start.
Thank you, Prof. One of the elements that you can consider to examine if a company or a business expanding is the possibility to create sub-branches in maybe other regions or other countries. And equally, the consumer satisfaction. Thank you.
Okay. So one is consumer satisfaction. Okay. Yes, Baba Mohammed.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. So please give me one.
Market share.
The market share. Okay.
Yes, please.
So you'll be able to say if you are successful in terms of your shares in the market. And so, for example, if MTN has the largest market share, it means that that company organization is what? Successful. So that's from Baba's perspective. Yes, Eunice.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I would look at employee turnover, the number of employees that leave the organization at let's say over a year. That will help me determine if the business is successful or not. Thank you.
So thank you. So if you are successful, every employee will always want to work with the big brands. And so if as an organization, people keep leaving your organization, then it's a signal that something might be wrong somewhere. Okay, that's great. So who again? Okay, Kojo.
Okay, and also I would like to pinpoint at one point is if the organization is able to fulfill the interest of people, because if whatever you are producing, you must like satisfy the need of the population or the customers. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So you realize that all that you stated are all aligned in measuring the success of organization. And so now, where does the balance scorecard comes in? The balance scorecard comes in to be able to measure based on certain indicators. And for the balance scorecard, we have 4 indicators we want to look at. I'll come back to all this, but I want us to start from a different angle. Okay. So to the balance scorecard, there are 4 key things we look out for in order to measure performance. And you realize that all that you stated are all aligned in these indicators. So for you to build a balance scorecard, there are 4 key areas we look out for. The financial perspective, which looks at the profitability, the financial growth, and the stakeholder value of the organization. Okay, so for the financial perspective, it means that there are certain indicators that comes under financial perspective. Now, what is the second perspective? Customer perspective. Remember, Dr. Fila mentioned that customer satisfaction. So it means that there will be some indicators to measure customer satisfaction. Then what's the next perspective? The next perspective is what we call the internal pros perspective, where this one looks at the operation of the organization. So for example, in most banks, for example, they have what they call the 3 minutes for customers. So it means when you are in the line and you get to the counter, by 3 minutes, whoever is there should be able to serve you and you leave for your other businesses. You realize that in the public sector, when you are looking for information, it takes a very long time. Okay, so that's the internal process we are looking at. Then the last one, I think Eunice mentioned employee turnover. And so the last one looks at the learn and growth perspective. From the perspective of the employees. Okay. Remember Eunice mentioned so it's not if I'm measuring you as an organization, I've looked at how well you have trained your organization, how well employees are coming up with innovations, how well in terms of perspective. So in putting up your balance scorecard, this will be the 4 perspectives you'll be looking at: the financial perspective, the customer perspective, the learning and growth perspective, and the internal process perspective. So based on this 4, you build up indicators in the various sections. So you that all the statements you made can be summarized in 4 perspectives: the financial perspective, the customer perspective, the learning and growth perspective, and the internal process perspective. Okay. And so when you are developing your annual, or what we call your annual strategic plan for the year, it should be aligned with your balance scorecard. What are your financial goals? What are your customer perspective goals? What are your learning and growth of employees goal? And what is the internal process for your organization? And so with all these indicators, at the end of the year, you're going to measure the organization in these 4 perspectives, which is aligned to your vision and your strategy. Now, to a table like this. So this is supposed to work on one and share. I'm wondering how you share, but you can do a presentation. You tell us. So what you are supposed to do now is to look at, for example, the financial perspective. What is the goal of the organization? Once you have the goal of the organization, what are the objectives? So you can have various objectives, but each objectives should come with what? The measure, the target, and initiatives. When you come to customer perspective, you should have objectives for customer perspective based on your goal. Okay, and those goals, you tell us how you are going to measure it, the target, initiatives, and a sample. I think that will be easy for you to appreciate the points I'm trying to make. A sample, we can have a fruitful. Give me a minute. Okay. So I hope you can all see the screen. So let me try and maximize it. Okay. So this is an example of a balance scorecard. So first, remember I said for every balance scorecard, you should have your goal. So the goal of, for example, a national petroleum organization is to be financially solvent. That's the goal. But those goals can be broken down to what? Objectives. And so for each objective, how are you going to measure it? What is the target? What are the initiatives that you are going to do to be able to capture or to be able to achieve those objectives? For example, to increase revenue, how are you going to measure it? I'm going to measure it by looking at the income and expenditure of the organization. What will be my target? My target is to improve our revenue from 5% to what? 6.5. So remember, targets are supposed to be very smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Okay, so you don't put target 10%. What is the baseline? So what will be some of the initiatives? Marketing strategies, diversification. What are the other objectives? Increase investments. How am I going to measure it? I'm going to look at what? Investment portfolio. What will be my target? 12 point from 12% to what? 14%. What will be some of the initiatives I'm going to take? Probably I'm going to invest in government treasury bills and what? Fixed interest. Reduce waste in financial by covering all loopholes. How am I going to do that? I'm going to track payments so that there will be no more what? Wastage in payments. So you realize that for each objective, you tell us how you are going to measure it, the targets, the initiative. So I'll pause here for somebody to also give us an example based on the financial perspective. Okay. So the assignment is pick an organization within the public sector, then develop a balanced scorecard on the screen. Will it be possible for us to do that? So probably I'll give about 5 minutes. Just think of any public organization. So you tell me the public organization, what is the goal? What will be one of the objectives? How are you going to measure it? What is the target? And what are some of the initiatives that can be taken to achieve that objective? 5 minutes. Think of a public organization. Then come back, either pick financial perspective or customer perspective or internal process or learning and growth. Then you take us through with an example. So everybody is going to pick one perspective and you take us through. So I'll give you 4 or 5 minutes. Let's think of it. Then we'll come back. Then we'll have a practical session on that. But before that, any question? I realize that a lot of people are saying that their internet you're having a challenge with the internet. I guess so the session will be recorded. So if you're not able to get in touch, I'm sure it will be shared on the platform. But probably maybe try and reposition yourself. I think you can have a better screen, a better internet connectivity. Sorry. So who is ready to start? So Dauda said, and then the network is really bad. Okay. Okay, so let me summarize what is on the screen to make it easy for us to do that. So the first step in balanced scorecard is to know that there are 4 perspectives you look at: the financial perspective, the customer perspective, the internal process perspective, and the learning and growth perspective. Now, the next stage is for you to have a goal for each of the perspectives. So, financial perspective, what is the goal for the organization? Is it to increase financial? Is it to increase? What is the goal? In terms of customer perspective, what is the goal of the organization? Is it to increase customer satisfaction? Is it to provide quality services? What is the goal in terms of customer perspective? The internal process perspective, what is the goal? Is it the goal to improve way of doing businesses? Learning and growth perspective, what is your goal? Is it to build capable employees that can perform and help you improve your expansion within the organization? So once you have your goal, remember the last session we discussed, you break your goal into what? Objectives. So that whilst you are achieving each objective, you are getting towards your goal. So you realize that for the financial perspective, there is various objectives that one what do you call it? That one can look at. Increase in revenue, increase in investment, reduce waste, increase market share, as mentioned by one of the participants. Now, for each of the objectives, how are you going to measure each of them? Okay, so when it comes to customer perspective, the same thing. Customer satisfaction. How are you going to measure customer satisfaction? Probably you can look at number of consistent customers. So the more people come back to your shop, it shows that people are happy with your services. It's just like in London and other places. Once you shop with any Argos or anywhere, there's a quick survey. Have you been here before? So they can measure consistent customers, and that's an indicator to increase satisfaction. Number of existing customers can also be an indicator. Okay, and so customer retention, customer relation, and even customer feedback can all be indicators. And so for each objective, you give a measure and give a target. And as I said, every target should have a baseline. Where are you or where you are getting to? And each target should also give you the initiatives. What are some of the initiatives you are going to take to be able to achieve that? Okay. So we'll break here, and everybody is supposed to develop a sample balance scorecard based on a template on the screen. So one, you need to tell us what is the public organization you're looking at. Then you come up with what? A sample. So the financial perspective, what is the goal? Then you give us about 2 objectives. Each objective, how are you going to measure it? What is the target? What are some of the initiatives that you can take to achieve those targets? Okay. So I'll give you 10 minutes, unless there's a question on this template, then we'll pick it. Or if there's any contribution, well, let's pick your thoughts. I know the internet is not our best friend for today, but let's pick some thoughts on the balance scorecard. Then we can go into practicals. Or in summary, give me your feedback on this balance scorecard. Is it a good tool, or do you think, or I mean any comment? Any comment? The floor is open. Yeah, Zachariah. Your is no, it seems you are far from the. Please increase your voice a little bit. I seem not to hear.
So I said the template is very, very nice, but then maybe we will need much more coaching that to be able to do, I believe.
Can you come again? I only had the template. Or if you can type your comments, that would be very helpful. All right.
Media for now.
Yeah, Dr. Perfila, you can come in.
I was asking the room and this guy that has been so many distinct patients.
I would like to talk about my own view of
And like it's
expertise.
20 years later, you have people like
Somebody is speaking in the background. I don't know.
A minute, let me mute the
It's
person.
tourism.
Okay, Dr. Perfila, please go ahead.
Okay, Prof. So based from the sample you have given, I would like to talk about the sector of legal services, that is access to court, access to legal remedy, which is that is the judicial sector. So the perspective we are looking at equally is with regards to customer perspective, and the goal is also to increase customer satisfaction, to increase the litigant satisfaction before the court of law, and also to make sure that the litigant is satisfied with the judgment rendered in court. We look at the objective. The objective here, of course, is still to satisfy the customer satisfaction, to enhance equal access to justice by the litigant, based from the principle of law that everybody is equal before the law, and equally to make sure that the weaker party can still be given possibility to have access to court when they're having a particular case that they would like to see the competent jurisdiction. And looking at the measures that we put in place, the first.
So if you can help us, Doc, if you can help us, so mention one objective and how you are going to measure it. What's the target and the initiatives? I think that will help the flow.
Okay,
so if you can go linears,
Okay, one objective is to encourage equal access to justice. And the measure that we've taken is to make sure that litigants who are unable to have access to a counsel can be able, the state can be able to provide a legal expert or counsel for them, so that their matter can equally be handled in court. And the target is to make sure that we could have 20 to 50% target. With that target, I'm not really versed with it, but I think the target is to make sure that we have the maximum satisfaction that will be derived by the customer. The initiative is to make sure that we train as many legal personnel as possible that to entertain these cases. To the best of my knowledge, Prof, that's what I can come up with. Thank you.
That's it. And if by the end of the year you are not able to achieve that, you can always look at what the initiatives. You can work on the initiative to realign to see if you can achieve the objective that you set earlier. Okay, that's good. Yes, thank you. So at least Doug has helped us with customer perspective. So can you also pick any of the perspectives and take us through? Yes. Yeah, but yes.
Hello. Please, I'm going to talk about a customer perspective. Is it am I allowed?
Okay, but can we have Bridget?
All right.
Yes,
Paul, good afternoon.
Bridget.
Hello, Prof. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yeah, please, can you hear me? Please, can anyone hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, we
Bridget, we
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
All
Yeah,
right.
please go
Yeah.
ahead. Yes.
Okay. So, the public's
Yes,
organization
please
that
go
I
ahead.
am looking, so the public organization that I am looking at is the Drivers and Vehicle Licensing Authority in Ghana here, shortened DVLA. So I'm looking at them and the financial perspective. So my goal is,
Yes, absolutely. You can go ahead.
okay, my goal is have drivers and vehicles taxed on the road. Those who are drivers and road users to be
Yeah,
taxed. And
absolutely.
then objectives. Objectives. Maintain quality management
I
system.
can hear you. Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm starting again. The public organization that I am looking at is the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority in Ghana here, shortened DVLA. So I am targeting the financial perspective. So my goal is for drivers and vehicles on our roads to be taxed. So objective, maintain quality management system. And then the measures that I will take is for road users to be educated on why they should be paying their roadworthiness of the vehicle. My target will be between 10 and 15%. Then my initiative is to do sensitization program for road users. Thank you.
Okay, so this is what we'll do. Let's give ourselves 15 minutes. I want us to develop all the four perspectives. Okay, so let's spend 15 minutes. I think we've given one, but I want us to give an holistic balance scorecard presentation. So I'll give you 15 minutes, then we'll come back.
Hello, class. Yeah, Richard, I'm coming. Hello, class. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Please,
Hello.
your lecturer's laptop has gone blank. So you continue the presentation on your WhatsApp page. I'm adding him to the WhatsApp page so that you can continue the session. You can do your presentation over there. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay,
That's
thank you
fine.
very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Can't get worse.